Well, good evening. How's everyone? It's Monday night. It's Monday night. I got a beer. Let's do this. Actually, honest confession, as often happens, I have two beers. I'm finishing this Pilsner Urquell. I'm going to do it right now. Oh. Heck of a beer. Heck of a nice beer. Highly recommend picking that one up. Can't go wrong with a nice can of Pilsner Urquell. What do we got going on tonight? Well, it's an exciting one, and we're gonna have to do a little. I'm gonna have to do a little explanation for this one to make sense. So we're gonna do that right now. Look what I got here. You know what this is? If I just showed you this picture on the can, if you're watching one of the videos, what do we have here? It's an eagle with sort of a motorcycle crash helmet, some cool goggles flipped up, and some red and blue stars. Well, if you, like me, were like me, you could be forgiven for not knowing that this is Naughty Neighbor from Brook Brewing. Now, let's talk. For a long time, pretty much as long as I can remember, Brook's label, its branding on Naughty Neighbor, was not to my liking. And not to a lot of people's liking. It was rightly perceived to be sexually objectifying women, and that sucks. And even worse than that, when people would ask them about it on social media, et cetera, you would often get just relax, we're just having some fun, kind of bro-y kind of response. Which was making a bad situation worse. Maybe that shouldn't have been a surprise, because obviously they have this not great label. But to be that tone deaf, that took a special a special thing. So people would often ask me, hey, can you do a Brook beer, this beer, that beer? And I would always just kind of non-committally go, yeah, wait a minute. But I haven't had a Brook beer in 5 years, maybe. And out of the context of the podcast, I would actively tell people to avoid them. Nothing to do with the quality. I think the beer is great. Ryan Morrow, good dude, great brewer. He doesn't make those labels. But I just was like, there's so many good breweries out there that don't sexually objectify women in their labels. Why support one that does? And one that clearly doesn't care, because it's not like they didn't know that it annoyed people. But anyway, as described in this new label, it's an eagle. It's a mean-looking eagle. Looks sort of like a mix between, maybe it's Eagle Knievel. I was going to say like Evil Knievel and something else. The Eagle Knievel. I wonder. I'm not going to read the can, because you know how I don't like to do that. Maybe it says somewhere. But anyway, the good news is the packaging is no longer sexually objectifying women. Hey, Jake, welcome aboard. So when I saw this at the LCBO the other day, now I don't know how long this label change has happened. It might have been 2 years ago. COVID's been crazy, but it's the first time I became aware of the fact that it now is in a new wrapper, a non-sexually objectifying wrapper, and one that I can happily support. So I just grabbed it right off the shelf. And now we're going to get into it. This is a beer I did drink somewhat regularly, especially on draft in the early days. To be fair and honest and open, I just wasn't as concerned myself with that sort of packaging. I always thought it was a little bit but as time went on and I really gave it thought and consideration, and also listened to some people for whom that sort of packaging was personally quite troubling, I came to appreciate that it wasn't okay. So I did end up kind of quietly, I don't like using the word boycott. It sounds so dumb, but that's what it was. I just never bought a beer from Brook ever for the past 5 years, give or take. But it is a beer I had. Now, a beer in 5 years, especially a pale ale, things can change a little. So this one could be totally new to me. I don't know. I do know I'm excited to give it another try and to welcome it back into the fold. Nickelbrook, Naughty Neighbor, welcome back to beers that can be sold just on the quality of what's in the can without having to put women on the labels. Welcome back, guys. Glad to have you. Let's give this guy a sniff. I actually just poured some in my mustache. I almost poured it down my face trying to get in there. It's very citrusy, lemony. We got, there's a very clear malt quality to it. Some maltiness in there for sure, which is great on a pale ale. I don't want it to be just hops, to be perfectly honest with you, even in an American style. It's grapefruity. Maybe like a little mango-y. All right, I got to drink it now. I'm excited. Huh. Tastes a lot like Dale's Pale Ale in a very good way. It's a little piney. Yeah, the hop presence on the palate is more earthy, piney forward. There's still it's not so lemony now. It's kind of white grapefruity. It's very much white grapefruity actually, and quite an assertively bitter finish. The immediate hit is actually kind of danky pine. You know what it is? I bet there's a lot of Citra in here. It's got a real interesting Citra pop. Citrus fruits, white grapefruit, kind of dank earthiness. I bet this is a Citra heavy beer. And again, very reminiscent of Dale's Pale Ale from, why do I always forget where that's from? It's from somewhere in the United States, and it's delicious. But it's interesting. Hang on, a titch. Just thinking about that, the malt presence. It is there if you go looking for it. And actually, it's quite hazy. I'm wondering if there's wheat in there. I think there's wheat. Yeah. I'm not positive, but I'm going to go with there's definitely wheat in there. It's funny. Definitely. That sounds positive. I digress. That's a great pale ale. Similar to like a Canuck. A bit different, though. Maybe a little bit more, I was going to say assertively hoppy. There's more pronounced, like, perceived bitterness. It's not squeaky quite, but it's moving in that direction. Man, I need to have an IPA sometime soon that is squeaky, because the number of times I say it's quite bitter, but it's not squeaky, I think we need something squeaky. I have some Bone Shaker in the fridge. That's squeaky. Yeah. Dank and earthy, white grapefruit. Touch of malty sweetness. And again, I think some wheat. And the finish is quite dry, quite hoppy. Bitter. That's delightful. Oh, Naughty Neighbor. Glad to feel comfortable drinking you again. And I'm glad that despite the fact that it took a long time and there was a lot of pretty crappy, bro-y, come on, guys, we're just having a bit of fun, BS, that obviously the message finally got through. And so here we go. Naughty Neighbor, Nickelbrook. I bought it at the LCBO. Easy to spot with its Eagle Knievel character on the label there, blue and white. Also, I like the move to this design. It's a white background. It's very graphic, comic-y, blue accents, red and white. Previously, it had been a black can with a somewhat scantily clad woman on it. Previous to that, it was more like a propaganda poster, but with a woman instead of Uncle Sam. But this design, it's great, super clean. Very distinct. I seem to recall there was headstock in a similar, that's their IPA, similar design convention. Obviously, it looked a bit different, but they've obviously rebranded and fantastic work on that. I like it. Oh, yeah, there's stuff written on here. Let me just take a peek and see what we see. Strong notes of citrus and pine sparkle on a thirst-quenching malt backdrop. Our American-style pale ale is daringly different, but fearlessly familiar. Stay reckless. Be brave. It's pretty dramatic, but that's okay. I agree with most of that. I guess daringly different, not by today's standards. It's delicious. And its descriptors are crushable, citrus, and freedom, which I find funny. So that's nice. And we do have brewing notes: two-row, pale ale, carafoam, and flaked wheat. There we go. Hops are Cascade, Centennial, and Citra. Yeah, there's definitely Citra in there. And California Ale. Perfect. Yeah, it contains barley and wheat. It says the pour color is lemon drop. We call that lemon drop. It's quite yellow. Yeah, it's lemony. Yeah, I'll give them that. That's hazy. Nice white head on it too. What a fantastic pale ale, man! Great beer, and now a great package. So I say have at it. Now I used to see the Naughty Neighbor in its old wrapper at the Loblaws too. So wouldn't be surprised if this one's available at your local grocery store, probably the beer store too. Also, head out to the brewery if you're out that way, sort of Burlington, Hamilton way. You know what? I've even lost track where they're at because they moved around. There was a brewery and then they moved, and them and Collective Arts are in the same space because it's the same company. And so I don't know where they're at. But I always go. If you're near a brewery and you're a beer person, why aren't you going to go to it? It's perfect. Who doesn't love going to a brewery? Come on. Now I need to think about food. I'm going to have a sip of beer. You know what this would honestly be really good with? And it could just be that I was thinking about it today, craving it. But I did not have it today, nor will I likely have it this week. But this is going to be good with the way I like a falafel. Not just a falafel. That's a little too generalized. But my style of falafel, which is very spicy and like offensively garlicky. Offensive is the level of garlic that I want in my my falafel, and that is to say, it's offensive to your senses of smell and taste, and then it's offensive to the people around you who then have to endure the smell of it coming off of you. That's the level of garlic sauce I'm looking for. Very spicy, very garlic saucy. Why is this going to work? Well, as always, hoppy beers, spiciness, they work well together. But that garlic sauce, man, it's rich and it's garlicky. Did you know it's like mayonnaise, but instead of an egg as the emulsifier, you're using garlic, which is also what aioli is. People think that aioli is just mayo with garlic mixed into it, which 9 times out of 10 it is. But if you make aioli properly, you're actually using no eggs, just garlic and oil and acid. The toum, I believe is how you pronounce it, which is the lovely garlic sauce in a falafel. That's what that is. It's just garlic, olive oil, lemon juice, and salt. And you have to you use the salt to make a paste with the garlic in a mortar and pestle or a food processor. And then you add some acid and some oil, and it's this constant back and forth because it's such a weak emulsifier. It's really easy to break it. But if you do it right, and my wife, Miss Erica, is, I don't know, voodoo levels of making that stuff so good. Man, that sauce is good and garlicky and salty. The aggressive citrus and dank qualities are going to cut through that garlic in a really nice way. And then falafels, if you make them right, the chickpeas, both the chickpeas and the parsley, have quite an earthy quality to them, which would complement the earthy qualities in this beer. So I think that'd be perfect. Also, I was thinking about eating a falafel today, and so now it's in my head, but it's not on the meal plan this week. Do you guys make a meal plan? You should, especially if you're an adult. I'll take that back, especially if you're an adult with kids. It really can help with family planning stuff. Not like that family planning. Ugh, what am I saying? Anyway, that's the food. We're going to have a falafel with it. It'll be great. I really want to have a falafel. I think I'm going to put it on the meal plan for next week because, gosh, it's good. And Erica's so good at making them. She makes the falafel balls too. So good. What a woman. I'm a lucky man. Anyway, that's what we're drinking. Nickelbrook, Naughty Neighbor in a no longer sexist can. That's good stuff. LCBO, probably the beer store. I don't know. Grocery for sure, maybe. And definitely at the brewery. Check them out. Similarly, Collective took over the Six Brew House, which I can't think of anyone who would have guessed that place wasn't going to last. But they also might serve Nickelbrook stuff because, again, co-ownership. So you could check them out there too, possibly. Not sure, but possibly. Let me have a drink and then I'm going to come back at you. That's good stuff. Hey, did you know Because Beer is happening again in Hamilton in 2 weeks' time, I think? Let me just Google it right now. Because Beer. I spelled because wrong, but don't worry. October 29th and 30th. I am correct. That is not this weekend. That is next weekend. Go to becausebeer.ca. Tickets are on sale now. Because Beer Harvest Edition. Craft beer and craft cider returns to Pier 4 Park October 29th and 30th. Tickets on sale now. This is in Hamilton, friends, and it is delightful. Who's going to be there? A lot of people. I was going to read this out to you, but I'm not because it's a long list. I will just highlight Nickelbrook will be there. Good for them. Merit is going to be there. Collective, of course, we discussed that. Same company. There's a lot of good-looking breweries going to be there. So go check that out. $24.99 for a single day. $34.99. What a coup. $10 extra for both days. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to go to that, but I would encourage anyone who can to go check that out. What a fantastic event. Because Beer in Hamilton, look that up. What else is going down? Well, I'll tell you this. This Saturday, it's finals day in the McCormick Cup, which is the senior men's rugby competition here in Southern Ontario. Balmy Beach, my team, poised, having gone undefeated this season, which I'm proud of. As I say, I had nothing to do with it. That's not entirely true. One of the nice things about rugby is if you're on the team and you're practicing with the team, you are genuinely helping that team be better. So while I haven't played any first team minutes, I've played some second team minutes, I can still stake a claim to being part of that team, which is nice, especially for an old guy who gets injured really easily. We are playing, I believe, Oshawa. And let me tell you, if you want a bit of fun, why don't you come on down to Tubbs and G Field? That is at Coxwell between Lakeshore and Eastern, right north of the skate park. Come on down on Saturday. I think us twos are going to be playing at 1:30, and then the first team is playing at 3:30. And that is for all the bananas, as they say. We're obviously hopeful for 2 wins. But I confess more than any round yet this season, this is going to be a tough one. You don't win a championship in a cakewalk. Oh, hey, Mary Beth. So yeah, here's the best part. Oh, and here's Erica too. Fantastic. Here's the best part. It's free. So come on down. Now, I'm not going to tell you that you can bring containers of alcohol and just enjoy them on your own terms, but you can, unless we get a beer tent, in which case then you probably can't. So just be forewarned of that. But we are, going to play, and it's going to be great. You know me and rugby. Good golly. You might even see me play a couple of minutes for the twos if you come down. That could be fun. So that's happening. That's very exciting for me, even if it's not exciting for anybody else. We also just wrapped up the junior season. Somebody's loving this. I don't know who. I can't figure out Instagram. I'm not that smart. We wrapped up the junior season there this past weekend. And I say this at least twice a year, at the start of the season and at the end. But it is the end of the season, so it's time for me to say it and to remind you of this. Can I tell you, there's not a lot more gratifying, satisfying things you can do than coaching children at a thing that you love and that they're learning. It's amazing. So I coached, once again, the little U8s, and to a lesser extent, U6s. So that's under 8s and under 6s. I actually had a primary coach who coached the U6s mostly, but I did a bit of that. They're really cute and little. That's kindergarten aged kids playing rugby. My guys are like grade 1 aged. But the thrill and the pride that you feel watching these kids grow and develop as players and people. I know that sounds really cliche, but it's totally true. We had a tournament on Saturday, and we had both teams, actually, the 6s and 8s, playing a game that looked very conspicuously like rugby. It was fantastic. And as I say, literally bursting with pride for these kids, many of whom couldn't really throw a rugby ball until like a week and a half ago. They could throw a ball, but it didn't look like a rugby ball getting thrown. They were just kind of hucking it around, and things just started to click, and it was great. I obviously love rugby and love coaching it. I'm not saying get out there and coach rugby, although if that's your game, get out there and coach rugby. But odds are you do something cool and fun and interesting, and there might well be a group, a club, an organization in your area that I promise you, if they exist, they are always struggling to find leadership, to find coaches, to find volunteers, to find that sort of thing. And all you got to do is show up. Actually, that's not entirely true. Typically, you also have to do a criminal record check, just to make sure that they call it a vulnerable sector screening, because you're working with children. They want to make sure that you're not a creep, basically, or at least not a convicted creep. Obviously, you might be a creep who just hasn't been caught. If that's the case, I would invite you to get help now and stop being a creep. But that's actually a really complicated thing, so we'll leave that for the minute. That's all it takes, though, for the most part. Certainly, that's what it took for coaching a Bommy. Prove that you're not a creep. Show that you're interested. We have people who come in and coach who have never even played rugby, because we can teach them enough to coach the little guys at doing it. It's great. So whatever it is, it doesn't even have to be a sport. You might be a painter. You might be a musician. I promise you there is a group, an organization, whatever, a club in your area that probably could use your volunteer time. And will you get paid? No. Will you have an amazing time with fantastic kids and be inspired by them? Probably. I certainly was. So I can't say enough how fantastic coaching kids is. I will say it's infuriating at times, and you'll be pulling out your hair at times. But all that stuff kind of rinses away, and what you're left with is just fantastic memories and pride for these wonderful kids and everything they accomplished. It's really amazing. So, as I say, can't recommend enough. If you can volunteer at something, volunteer at it, and just have a fantastic time doing it. Anything else? Nope. No more rugby news. Unfortunately, Canada got eliminated. No, first time we haven't qualified for a World Cup ever. Think about that. In the modern era. Although, yeah, it's ever, because there is only a modern era for Rugby World Cups. It's not like the Olympics. First time, failed to qualify. Really unfortunate. But the one knock-on effect was a bunch of players from the Arrows were at Canada camp and weren't eligible to play this past weekend. So 3 of my friends from my team got to play for the Toronto Arrows, which was a really delightful thing. If you want to see a bunch of hard, knuckle-dragging rugby players bursting with pride for their teammates, just show up to the practice before the day that some guys get to play for the local professional team, and you will see it. It's endearing. So yeah, big ups, Julian, Ben, Norton. We're super proud of you guys. You heard it first here. Anyway, that's it. That's what I got. Because beer, I actually had an event this time. Isn't that great? There's events happening again. Don't forget, download your, what do they call it? something or other, passport, COVID, enhanced document, whatever. It's a QR code. It's super easy. You get a PDF, stick it on your phone. You don't have to think about it again. Open it up anytime they ask you. Blip, scan, done. What's that you say? You can't get one because you haven't been vaccinated twice? What the hell are you waiting for? Just go and get it done. Damn. Why do we have to make the end of this so heavy? Just get vaccinated. Hurry up. Billions of people have done it with minimal to no side effects. So you're going to feel like hell for a day. That's it. Then you're done. It's easy. Get yourself jabbed, get your documentation to prove it, and then go out and enjoy things like movies and bars and going to Because Beer. Because you can. Because you've done your part. You've vaccinated. And other than that, pick up some naughty neighbors, show Nickelbrook some love, even if it took them way longer than is sane to clean up that mess of a label. They've done it now. So we should honor that. The Eagle Knievel can, that's what I'm calling it. Good on you, Nickelbrook. I'm not a fan of how long it took, but I'm a fan that you did it now. So congratulations, guys. Welcome back to the fold. I'll buy your beer again. Other than that, I'll be back in a week. Don't know what I'm going to do. Don't know what I'm going to drink. Might talk to somebody, but I always say that, and then I don't because I have to set that up. Although with rugby being done now, I have more time on my hands. So it's entirely possible that I will do exactly that. Set something up. We'll have to see. But until then, have a great week. Come down Saturday, like I said, Tubbs and G. Easy to find. Watch some rugby. It's free. It's outdoors. It's beautiful. Come on down, hang out. Even if you don't know what rugby looks like, it's a fantastic game. You'll figure it out. You move the ball this way and you run that way and you score points. What else do you need to know? Oh, and people get tackled all the time. It's great. Yeah, that's it for tonight, kids. You have a good week. I'll talk to you in 7 days, unless I've been grievously injured, but let's hope that doesn't happen. I'll talk to you in 7 days. I'll be fine. Bye.